I think it's finally time that we have the Russell Wilson conversation. Where does Russell Wilson rank amongst the greatest quarterbacks in NFL history? Russell is now 30 years old. He's 8 seasons into his NFL career. And right now, 5 weeks into the 2019 season, he's 30 years old and he's playing better than ever. He's playing at an MVP level. And to me, he might be the best quarterback in all of football. It's certainly up for debate. It's rather him or it's Patrick Mahomes. Where does Russell Wilson rank amongst the greatest ever? Gronk, spike the like button, subscribe to The Bottom Line View for more NFL videos just like this. Comment below your opinion on Russ. Where do you put him amongst the greatest quarterbacks to ever play? With all great NFL quarterbacks, the conversation starts with the physical. And for some, they're great mentally, like Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, just at the line of scrimmage, wizards, and their IQ is off the charts. For some, they're extremely accurate, like Drew Brees. For others, they have incredible arms like Favre or Elway, and some have been able to combine it like Aaron Rodgers from a physical standpoint. But then when you look at Russell Wilson, I kind of feel like he's unique to this conversation. I've always felt that Russell Wilson is the modern day Roger Staubach. They called Roger Staubach, Roger the Dodger because of his style of play, his ability to make guys miss behind the line of scrimmage, just be able to ad-lib and throw the ball on the run and make defenders miss inside the pocket. And I really feel like Russell Wilson is the modern day Roger Staubach in that shape, in that form. When you look at Russell Wilson's game, he's one of the best quarterbacks of all time on the run. He's one of the best quarterbacks throwing on the run, and his ability to maintain accuracy, just pinpoint no matter where the receiver is on the field. He could be running to the left as a right-handed quarterback and hit Tyler Lockett in the back of the end zone. He could be throwing it across his body. He could be avoiding a defender. It doesn't really matter. Russell Wilson has shown an ability on the run that I think is extremely unique, and you could argue he is the best quarterback throwing on the run we have ever seen. I think you would have to put him in that conversation. He's definitely a clutch quarterback in terms of he has the awareness, he has the mental capability of in big situations, he knows exactly where to go with the football. He's intelligent at the same time, and he doesn't make many mistakes. Russell Wilson, he doesn't throw a lot of interceptions, and he especially doesn't make those mistakes in big key moments. Of course, outside of Malcolm Butler, but I wouldn't say that was really his fault. Early in his career, he had a great defense, so he was a little bit more of a game manager. He understood that he wasn't supposed to, make these incredible plays all the time because he didn't need to. He managed the game, he understood how good his defense was, and he made the plays necessary to win. He's played with some terrible, awful, horrendous offensive lines, and he's been able to still operate behind those offensive lines and be one of the best passers in the league. He's played with multiple different type of receivers. He's had great chemistry with Tyler Lockett as of recently, or a Doug Baldwin more a couple years ago. So Russell Wilson has been able to adjust to systems, he's been able to adjust to receivers, he's been able to adjust to bad or good offensive lines, and he's been able to adjust to good or bad defenses as well. So I credit Russell Wilson for his ability to still find ways to win in different ways and be able to rather pass for 300 yards, run for 50 yards, or sometimes maybe not even throw a touchdown, but just not make a mistake and not cost his team the entire game. When you look at Russell Wilson in terms of an accolade standpoint, Russell has a pretty good resume from that standpoint, especially at 30 years old. He's a Super Bowl champion. He's been to 2 Super Bowls, which somebody like Aaron Rodgers has never even been to 2 Super Bowls, and he was very close to winning that second Super Bowl versus Tom Brady and the Patriots, no less. If it weren't for that incredible interception by Malcolm Butler and maybe just a handoff to Marshawn Lynch, Russell Wilson would be a 2-time Super Bowl champion, and I almost wonder how much different we would be looking at him now if he were a 2-time Super Bowl champion, even if that was at a point in his career where he wasn't really considered an elite quarterback. He's a 5-time Pro Bowler in 7 seasons so far, likely to be a 6th time. He was a passer rating leader in 2015, the touchdown leader in 2017, and this guy's never had a losing season in his entire career. Not many quarterbacks can say that outside of really Tom Brady. So Russell Wilson is on pace to being not only one of the most winning quarterbacks of all time, but also in the same right, very impressive statistically. Speaking of those statistics, Russell Wilson, he's thrown 30 touchdowns 3 times throughout the course of his career. Like I said, he led the league once in that category. He has only thrown for 4,000 yards twice. I would like to say that 2019 will be the third time that he does do that. But I do have to mention that Russell Wilson does not actually pass the ball a lot because the Seahawks don't demand him to. This is not an offense where Russell Wilson is one of the highest in attempts year in and year out in the NFL. They love to run the ball. And I will say, for those of you who are going to comment, well, how can Russell Wilson be one of the greatest if he doesn't pass the ball a lot and the team doesn't rely on him to pass the ball a lot? Well, actually, it can be more frustrating for a quarterback. It can be more difficult for a quarterback to actually pass less because there's less chance that you get in a rhythm. Those stats aren't looking as good for you. And then you're stuck in 3rd and long a lot of times. If you're running on 1st and 2nd down and it's not effective and you're just going to say, hey, Russell Wilson, go out there on 3rd and 12 and make a play. I mean, that's more difficult a lot of times for a quarterback than to manage the situation, get in a rhythm, and be able to have the ball in your hands. And we've seen that Russell Wilson, with the ball in his hands, has been most efficient. 4 times over 100 passer rating, which, just for reference, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, they did that 6 times in their entire career. So Russell Wilson, once he retires, he could have that record in terms of most times over 100 in terms of his passer rating for a season. Now, it is a different era for Peyton and Brady. Their defenses that they played early in their career, especially, were a lot more difficult, and the game has changed since they played early in their career. But at the same time, still very impressive. Russell Wilson has the 2nd highest career passer rating of all time, only behind Aaron Rodgers. He also has the 2nd highest passing touchdown percentage in Super Bowl history. You're wondering what a passing touchdown percentage is. Well, like I just said, he doesn't pass the ball a lot, but when he does, he's very efficient with it. 2nd highest passing touchdown percentage, meaning the 2nd highest in terms of passing attempts that go for touchdowns. That's what Russell Wilson does. And that's how statistically he's been kind of an anomaly in terms of how is this guy throwing 35 touchdowns when they never pass the ball? That's the crazy thing about Russell Wilson. I brought up how clutch Russell Wilson can be. Russell Wilson has the number 1 passer rating within the 4th quarter since 1991 with quarterbacks that have a minimum of 500 passing attempts. He has a 109.6 passer rating in the 4th quarter. He's 5th all time in rushing yards for a quarterback. He's 2nd, I believe, by players that are playing right now, only behind Cam Newton. And Wilson certainly has not had the ability to have a lot of these designed runs as Cam Newton, and probably thankfully for Russell Wilson, because he'd probably be a lot more banged up and he's just not as physically imposing as Cam Newton is, so he wouldn't be able to take that punishment at the same time. But nonetheless, people do forget that Russell Wilson is one of the better scrambling quarterbacks in the NFL and in NFL history in general. Russell Wilson is tied for the most 4th quarter comebacks and game-winning drives since he entered the league in 2012. Russell Wilson, the 4th quarter factor. I cannot count, I guess it's 27 games, where I've seen Russell Wilson just be able to, late in the 4th quarter, no matter what the score is, whether it was 10-7 or 27-24, he's been able to come back in the 4th quarter, be able to win. When it comes to wins and losses, Russell Wilson is one of the most impressive quarterbacks in NFL history, especially through his first 7 seasons. He actually holds the record for the most wins ever by a quarterback within their first 7 seasons of their career, which, that's even better than Tom Brady. And yeah, Tom Brady did miss his first rookie season, which Russell Wilson was able to play in that season, but nonetheless, he is other than Tom Brady, the only quarterback to ever have within 7 seasons 75 plus victories. Super impressive. He's 10th in total victories right now in active quarterbacks. He's second only behind Tom Brady in winning percentage. He's 8-5 in the playoffs, which that's tied for 5th right now from active quarterbacks, and that's tied with Eli Manning and Drew Brees. So with that resume I just laid out for you, it's time to give you my ranking, my result. And when you look at it, I think Russell Wilson is a top 20 quarterback of all time. I don't think he's quite there in the top 10 status yet. I don't really know if he's close to that status yet. He still has a long way to go. He's only 30. He's played 8 seasons. He could possibly play until he's 40. And at that point, he might be a top 10 quarterback of all time. He's certainly already one of the winningest quarterbacks of all time, which I think is something that has gone under the radar. And again, if he would have won that second Super Bowl, we would be talking about that. He's had great team success, but he's also had some individual success. And if this great 2019 season continues, if he does add, let's say, an MVP award to his trophy case, then maybe Russell Wilson's even a top 15 quarterback of all time. I certainly would not put Russell Wilson above guys like Brady, Peyton, Montana, Elway, Favre, even Rodgers. I don't think I'd put him above Roger Staubach, Marino, Breeze, Unitas, Otto Graham, or Steve Young. Those are the quarterbacks that for sure I would not put Russell Wilson above. But when you look at guys that he's in the conversation with, I think you throw him in the conversation with a Terry Bradshaw, with a Bart Starr, Troy Aikman, Ben Roethlisberger, Jim Kelly, Warren Moon, Phillip Rivers, Kurt Warner, Tarkington. All these guys, I think Russell Wilson definitely belongs in that conversation with those guys. I think he's at the very least on any list top 25 of all time. I'd put him within the top 20. Elliot Harrison of NFL Network, I respect his opinion as a historian of the NFL. He ranks him 18th. So I definitely think that Russell Wilson, and that was before this season even, so Russell Wilson is certainly in the top 20. I think you could argue that by the end of this season, he is in the top 15. Russell Wilson, from a physical standpoint, has it. From a winning standpoint, has it. From a statistical standpoint, has it right now and is going to continue to compile it. And I think Russell Wilson has proven that no matter how good his team is around him, he's able to win. No matter the defense, he's able to win. No matter the offense or offensive line or the weapons, he's able to win. And he's able to still put up incredible stats, and he doesn't lose games for his team ever. He doesn't throw a lot of interceptions. He doesn't fumble the ball. So Russell Wilson has everything that you want, including rushing statistics, which is rare to this conversation. I think at the end of his career, he'll be a top 10 quarterback of all time. That's my bold prediction. We'll see if it ends up happening, but he's certainly on his way to becoming that. Let me know in the comment section below, where do you believe Russell Wilson ranks all time right now? And where do you believe he will rank at the end of his career? Also, do you think he's the best quarterback in the NFL right now? Or is it Mahomes or maybe somebody else? Let me know in the comment section below. It's been Mitch. Thanks for joining this discussion. If you enjoyed, Gronk spike the like button and subscribe to the Bottom Line View if you're new. Peace out.